Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We have been getting asked for quite a while now if we could please do a video on shooting in a small space because not a lot of people have a big studio. So what Peter's done is used some of the walls that we have in the studio and he's mapped out like, I think it was 6 meters by 6 meters because we Googled it and that's what Google said the Australian average for a 2-car garage is. And I'm sorry that we don't use feet here, but America's actually the only place in the world that does. So you guys can look that up. Sorry, that was sassy. Anyways, we've set up the same size as a 2-car garage and Peter's going to use just some simple lighting and show you what kind of looks you can get in a small space. Just pretend it's a garage, pretend it's not a studio.
So I had an email from Kelly in LA and he wants to set up a portable garage. So he still wants to use his garage as a garage, but he also wants to have it as a studio and wanted some advice. So what I decided to do is I've set up a 6 by 6 meter. In America, sorry, times that by 3, I think, and you'll the 3 or 6, 18 on 20 foot by 20 foot roughly as a garage. And people are going to say, oh, it's not the size of a garage. I looked it up on Google and in Australia, a standard 2-car garage is sold as a 6 by 6 meter. These walls are about 2.4. So we're treating that as the roof. So I'm not going to use any lighting above that height. And I've got my full 6 by 6 meter. I've got a dark wall and a light wall. It's only so I can show that you could drop things. I'm actually going to do some stuff, make that wall light as well. And just show you what I can do in a garage space. So I'm going to aim at getting 4 different looks using flash. I'm not going to do a natural light look only because our skylight is fairly strong here. And that skylight will affect the look in here. And I didn't have the time or energy to put a roof on this, so I didn't do that. So with this, I know this tripod wouldn't be here, but again, this is to make my life easy while I'm recording. Otherwise, I just use a normal tripod. So what I'm going to do is just set up some lighting as if this was in a garage. I'm going to stay in my boundaries here. We could treat this as a roller door and open, so I can step out this way a little bit. But I'm going to just start inside. And I think I'm just going to start on the black wall. I'll stay about that far back. I might need to use the 2 lights. I'm just going to start off with 1. I don't know if this battery power one's going to give me enough power from there to where Rara is. So what I'm going to do is just see how much room I've got. I'll put overexposure warning on. Cool, so I've got about a stop. I need to get to take her up to get that lit up more. So I'm on 8.3. Let's punch this up to about 9.4. Let's see what I get off this. Let's see how much more light. We get much more light in there like that. And I think that's going to be pretty close to my, yeah. So that gives me 1/3 of a stop of protection to be careful not to overcook. We'll just do a headshot, cool. This is giving me a nice, flat, even light. I could do a little bit of playing with this. I could put just a slight little bump in the mids just to glow her up a little bit, throw a little bit of contrast on her. It's just brought a little bit of color in. If I wanted to, I could pull a little bit of the desaturation out to make it a little bit fashiony. And very, very simple lighting. I can do that in the garage. So Rara's with an agency and had class as a digi, just unretouched, straight out of camera. So straight away, I could use a garage space as an area to do models, digis. I just want to see what happens by coming this way a bit. I should start to create a nice Rembrandt, especially this would suit nicely, a nice black and white. Put a little bit of shadow fill in just to soften that off a little bit. And that's going to give me a nice picture like that. Right, so with that light against this wall, I'm very limited. I can't use any bounce off of this wall, but I can see what's going to happen on this wall. Cool. Right, so we're getting she's getting overexposed now on here because we've got her closer to that light bouncing off that wall. I can now pull this down a bit more. And all I do is get my exposure right. Then I'm going to get my angle right to make it look best on Rara. So I've pulled it down a little bit too far. In fact, no, I'm not going to bring it up a touch. You want to take a step this way? So I turn up the light power just by moving her across the light. That's quite nice. So with that, I've got quite a nice, and that's got a nice Rembrandt-y feel. I can play around with the contrast and the feel of this light just by me changing. So I've got Rara in a position that's correctly exposed. Cool, that's pretty. And because I've come just round a fraction, look how much softer that is on her. So I can come in here, if I put that line right through her head, you'll see I've got this beautiful soft light. I've got this interesting sort of background, and that's just shooting along the wall. We start off in there. Cool. Then at each step I take, cool. 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 Work a little bit to there, that's nice. So a little bit, cool. Just leaning against the wall. I think this might be very dark. I'm just going to try it anyway. So I really need some white light here, but I'm going to show that trick in a minute. Yeah, it's a little bit too dark. I could save this picture. So one thing good about digital, we can just punch up like there and see I can save that picture. We've still got a reasonable light. I could still work with that image. But if I just run my way back through them as I went round, you'll see how many different lighting looks we have just round that one wall in a garage. So they're all the different looks with one light just in a space the size of a garage. Now you can have paper backgrounds and different walls that you can drop behind to change the background behind the model, but this is the amount of difference you can create. So now what I want to do, even in the garage, a couple of V-flats, they'll pack up against a wall and it takes up no room at all in your garage. So what I want to try and do is grab some of this light, bounce and fill in the shaded side and slightly soften the front of Rara. And I'm just want to try and get a really nice shot here with a slight fall off from left to right. Well, that's nearly done it perfect for me. It's quite soft across there. I must say punch this a touch more, this even closer. It's going to give me more power back onto Rara. Cool, that's really pretty. Yeah, that's come up really, really nice. I'm really happy with the way it's got this soft muted shadow sitting off there. This is just a good commercial shot. Grayscale it for me. Let's see what we can do with this. Throw a bit of contrast into here. Yeah, just make this a little bit edgy commercial. So I'm only using the shadow fill mainly to keep the detail in the blacks. Remember, this is just one light in the size of a garage with one V-flat. Cool. So this is just to try and redo that other shot and just see how much bounce we can get back. And I think that's brought us in a lovely bit of bounce. That's a beautiful, soft bounce backlight. So now I want to, instead of using the white and being able to work around her, I want to start using the black. I'm going to come in and use this wall. I've set up just a little V-flat over there to give me a background over there. And I'm just going to, again, fine tune this light till I can, I'll try and do 2 or 3 different looks with this light, but the first one's going to be in here somewhere. Cool. This is a little bit under, so I might give it a little bit more. So let's come up a little bit. And by coming back a little bit, I've turned it in. I will be blocking a little bit of it here. That's really cool. And that's giving me a really nice finish again. So with the black background, we're now getting a little bit of cut off this black wall, whereas before we got too much cut off the back wall. I'm now going to get a lot more cut off the back wall. And I'm going to vary this. Cool, that's really nice there. Cool. I'm going to vary the brightness of this because I can move her in and out against this wall now. And yeah, I'm liking this. We're getting this nice. See how we've got this nice fall off happening across her face so it's not so flat. That, yeah, that's a Photoshop thing, or I need to change my wall so you can't see that. It's a pretty easy thing to do. It's quicker than Photoshop if I get, it'll do. Just by doing that, now won't have a bit that's sticking out. Just come in touch, just a, it's really pretty, it's really pretty. Cool, cool. We're still gonna have a bit of a line, but we're not gonna have that distinct black line. So it's quick in Photoshop. That's given me a really nice look and a nice fall off. So my second light is going to be a backlight. So what I want this light to do is just get like a bit of a hair glow, a bit of a backlight into Rara. Let's start this down pretty low because I'm just going to use a bare bulb. Cool. That's really pretty, that's cool. We can see the lights working, so we've got this little shadow coming off here, but you'll see that we've added a lot more depth to our first picture to our final. You see that has that more depth to the picture, which is giving a nicer feel to it. Right, so I'm treating this as I'm broke and don't have a boom arm. So I want to try and just drop this light from above and just catch the back of her hair now. But all I have to do now is if I just crop off the top of her head, that'll take the light stand out of the shot. Ooh. Yep, that's giving me this little bit of a halo happening on the back. Look at the fine hair sitting into the back. And you'll notice, especially in fashion magazines, we cut off the top of the head a lot. I'm turning the volume up more because I want to get that real glow about. I'm going to get Rara just to come off the wall just a fraction, just so I don't have to cut so much of her top of her head off. So that's just giving me a really nice glow. But look at all the little fine hair particles. It's just clipping on the back. It's added some more depth to the picture from where we started with. We've got even a little bit of lens flare, which is quite nice. Do you use something like that in your folio?
Yeah.
So the next thing that I could do is we can now, I might get you onto this wall. We're going to go back to one light. We're just going to go straight with bare bulb against the black wall, so the shadows aren't going to be as annoying to people who don't like shadows. So I'm trying to get the camera and light in a very similar plane. Getting very close. Okay, I'll come up a little bit. I'll come right in with that light. Cool, that's really cool. And this is this more paparazzi type of lighting that people like GQ like the look of. They definitely use. You like it, yeah. It's that shadow under the chin. Camera club photographers are normally going to hate this, but this style of light's used a lot in advertising and fashion. Cool. And every light, it's got your own taste to what light you want to use, but you might hate it, which means there's a very good chance somebody else absolutely loves it. And that's giving me that really, really stark GQ-y type of look. Black and white, it's still going to work, and it'll work great with a bit of clarity. I'm going to really pop this. If we wanted to try and kill that shadow more, can you come out to that blue patch? About there, so that's going to give me about the same exposure. If I jump in here, cool. We get this nice drop shadow. I see it as nice, other people aren't. Another thing that you'll see a lot is a side shadow. Gets a little bit more of a midday fashion shot. And if I direct it across, so we've got the white wall over there, that should give me a nice angle across. I'm after a shadow angle under her chin that runs across her neck. Just think fashion, cool. Nearly perfect. That angle, you'll see this a lot in fashion magazines. So this is like a full sun style of shot, and it gives it that sort of under look. You'll see it a lot in Helmut Newton pictures. Irving Penn, you'll see it in his outside work, and Avedon, you'll see it in Avedon pictures that are outside. And I can then just vary it a little bit. If I come this way a bit more, it's going to go longer. Cool. And if I come this way a little bit, the shadow's going to be sit more just under the chin. There's all the different looks we get. And this is just in the space of a garage with two lights and a single V flat.
So we hope you guys enjoyed that and got to see that you can do a lot in limited amounts of space. And if you did like that, these will be some YouTube suggestions floating around my head now.